Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We've got a great presentation put together for you that's going to explain hazardous locations and the types of lighting fixtures they require. And to speak to that, we have with us our product manager, Line Momeni. Lynn?
Thank you, Blake. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. So we will be jumping right in. First, we'll talk about hazardous locations market size. We've seen it in the past few years. The LED lighting market for harsh and hazardous location has been growing. It's actually forecasted to be 7.5 billion by 2022. And even better news, there's a lot of opportunities out there because not all of the sites and the facilities have moved to LED yet. So MaxLite has a full portfolio that is LED only. And the reason why is because LED is tougher, it's more reliable, it has a longer shelf life, as you well know, consumes less energy, and allows us to offer a better operating temperature range. Next, we'll talk about the key application for harsh and hazardous location. Harsh and hazardous location is meant to be anything that's atypical. As we go through the projects and as we try to get bids out there. We are talking about oil and gas, paper processing, pharmaceutical, chemical, shipbuildings, power plant, textile, wastewater treatment facilities, military facilities, paint facilities, and this is just a few examples. If you have a facility in the desert where temperatures get very high, then you have a harsh type of application, and in that particular instance, we encourage you to reach out to MaxLite to see if there's anything we can do. So this is just something that we show you as an example, but it includes much more. Another way usually to use harsh and hazardous locations fixture is highly dependent on the ratings of the fixture. So we've heard about class 1, 2, 3 division and groups, and here we'll talk about what that is really about. Class categorizes the type of material that is in the surrounding atmosphere of the room or the facility. So class 1 is about flammable gases and vapors. Class 2 is about combustible or conductive dust. And class 3 is about ignitable fibers or flying items that are present. The only difference from class 3 to class 2 and 1 is that for class 3, whether it's wood chip or cotton or flax or nylon, whatever type of fiber or flying is that has been identified is not present in the atmosphere at that time in sufficient quantity that we believe that there is a risk of explosion. But for class 1 and class 2, there is a risk of explosion. Let's move to division and what that means. We have division 1 and we have division 2. Division addresses whether the material that is in the atmosphere is present under normal or abnormal operating conditions. Division 1, when you are in an environment that is deemed to be class 1, division 1 for instance, it means that the substance or the material that we are talking about is present during normal condition. The workers are subjected to that material on a daily basis. But when we are talking about division 2, we go into abnormal conditions. It means that on a daily regular usage, there is no worry that particular material will be present. Maybe a pipe bursts, and then that's when the worry is. So it has to be an abnormal condition, a system breakdown, or just a container failure.
And Lynn, we have a question. Does each raise in division class include the previous class as well?
Not necessarily. Briefly going to mention that there are classifications that are what I would say optional versus others. So you can have a class 1 division 1 that is not class 1 division 2. That's because it didn't go through that testing. So class 1 division 2 is a testing that one needs to go through. But once you have, for instance, class 1 division 2, you can easily and always check with the manufacturer, have a class 2 division 2 as well and a class 3. Always check with the manufacturer when in doubt. The one thing that would change when you're trying to go from a class 1 division 2 for instance, to a class 2 division 2 or even just to a class 3 will be the grouping. So in the next slide, we'll talk about groupings, but I believe the bottom line here, one thing to remember is that class 1 division 1, class 1 division 2, those are ratings that you always need to have. Certain ratings are optional, but again, always check with the manufacturer. Do not assume, if not for the grouping, but for the fact that sometimes they will tell you this is just not applicable.
Thank you, Anne.
Okay, so we'll move into the grouping. What are groups A through D? The group defines the actual hazardous material that is in the surroundings at a particular time. So we have, for instance, group B that is about hydrogen. We have group D that is going to be about gasoline, or group D that is going to be about flour dust, grain dust, flour, starch, sugar, and everything else. One thing that happens very commonly is that you get a request saying, I work in this facility and I want to know if you have the product for us. Unfortunately, the facility or the local inspector has to tell the manufacturer what type of operating conditions they are subjected to, as well as identifying the hazardous material that is in the environment, whether it is under normal or abnormal conditions. Once you identify that, we can definitely help you and recommend something based on our offering, but that information usually needs to come from the facility or the local inspector because we do not know. So the next slide covers, because we went through classifications, divisions, and groups, covers the actual certifications. UL 1598 is a certification for the luminaires. We are very familiar with it. One additional step, though, is the step that it takes to get a fixture marine graded. It is called a UL 1598A certification. So if we are trying to install, let's say, a flood into a ship or just in a building that is very, very close to the sea and we want something that is going to be marine grade, we have to check outside of maybe that particular manufacturer claiming you can use this. We have to ask them, do you have an actual UL 1598A certification? And the answer has to be yes for this to be actually available. So there is no midways. You either marine grade certified or you are not. As far as C1D1, C2D2, C1D2 certifications are concerned, that is under the UL 844 type of certifications. There's a lot of certifications going on. So usually you also hear about the IK rating. The IK rating is how much impact the fixture can withstand, and that is done via the IEC 62262. That usually goes up to 10, and if you guys are worried because your fixture might be subjected to a lot of flying objects, not necessarily sure right now what the condition for that is, ask the manufacturer what is the IK rating of the fixture. It goes up to 10. We also have the vibration rating. Vibration rating comes in handy when you're dealing with oil rigs, for instance, where they have a lot of vibrations, and vibration rating test is done via the NCC 136.31. If you are ever doubtful or you want to double check, feel free to ask the factory or the manufacturer what is the requirement that you are using to claim the vibration rating, because you will find out that not all of them are using this particular requirement. So if you are very worried about vibration, take the extra step and ask them. You can also look in certain instances, if needed, at the corrosion resistance. That is done via the ASTM B117-19. It is just the salt spray testing. For environments that are highly corrosive, we will recommend that you make sure that your manufacturer is using 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 hours, or claiming that at least in the specifications, because some tests can be completed at lesser hours ratings. So why use MaxLite? Hazardous location, as we reviewed, is a growing market. MaxLite is fully aware, and MaxLite is making the investment and going out there and bringing additional fixtures to the portfolio. So it's a growing market. We hope to grow the portfolio and bring in more business for us and for you guys. MaxLite has extremely aggressive pricing and a broad product portfolio. And also, what we do differently from the competitions is the lead time. We keep actual inventory on the high selling SKUs, and if something is a non-stocked item, it will be made very clear on the data sheet. For quantities 99 or less, you will have an 8 weeks delivery, and for quantities 100 and more, it might vary from 10 to 12 weeks. It's going to depend on the SKU. It's going to depend on the quantity, whether it's 199 or 200 or more. But we will not get past the 12 weeks delivery on orders. MaxLite portfolio at a glance. We have floods in C1D1, C1D2, linears in C1D1, C1D2, high bay fixtures, low bay and daily jazz fixtures, high output floods and wall pack fixtures in C1D2. So we'll start reviewing the MaxLite portfolio by talking about our linear fixture. This comes in C1D1 and in C1D2, 40 watts and 80 watts. The 40 watt fixture is 2 feet, the 80 watt fixture is 4 feet, and the series goes up to 10,000 lumens depending on the rating that you are looking at. What we'll call features in this case will be the fact that we not only offer 5,000, but we also have 4,000 and 3,000, two different voltages, universal 120 to 277 volts, and high voltage, clear, diffused, and narrow optics, and a battery backup options. One thing that's worth mentioning here for those that work in environments that work with projects that are highly subjected to vibration is that MaxLite on those two fixtures offers a second retention point standard. The second retention point is used to, once you have your primary mean of retention, let's say the yoke bracket or just the pendant rod, via the second retention point, you hang the fixture. That means that if the primary mean of retention or installation of the fixture on the surface fails, the fixture is still holding up via the second retention point, giving the facility time to fix the fixture and also avoiding any incidents during work hours or even after work hours. So we have that standard on these two offerings. You can see that on our data sheets. The different listings that we have are DLC Premium, Marine Grade, Class 1, Division 2, Class 1, Division 1, up to Class 3. A 5G vibration rating. We tested the fixture for more, and we are very comfortable claiming 1,000 hours of salt rate testing and IP66.
And Lynn, we have one other question. Would you recommend the hazardous location linear for inside an oil pit at a quick lube? This would be aiming up at the underside of a vehicle.
So my quick answer, hello Jim, my quick answer to that would be aiming up as long as you can install that via the yoke bracket, sure, because it's also internal. I don't expect it to have any water or anything getting in. But as far as recommending you C1D1 or C1D2, I'll really need to know what kind of environment you have in your oil pit. We talked about that a little bit briefly when we reviewed the ratings. You guys have to tell us what you are dealing with. That way we tell you go with C1D1 or go with C1D2.
Thank you, Lynn.
Sure. So we go to the next one. Let's talk about low bay and jelly jars. MaxLite offers standard the HL-LB series. It is 23 watts, 2700 lumens, and the HLRS series, 45 watts and 65 watts, up to 9000 lumens. We recently launched the HLRS series, and it's a pretty successful product so far, which means that we are discontinuing the HL-LB series. What that means for you guys is very aggressive pricing. So if you have not taken a look yet, please look at our HL-LB series. features of this entire low base / jelly jazz portfolio. Again, we have 3000K, 4000K, 5000K, and we offer pendant, wall, and ceiling mount options. Different type of listings: DLC Premium, which is in progress for the HLRS, Marine Grade, which is already existing on both portfolios, Class 1 Division 2 up to Class 3. Here we go again with the 5D vibration rating, 1,000 hours of salt spray testing, and IP66. So next we'll review our flood offering, available in C1D1 and C1D2. We call this the HL-AR series. We've had it for a few months, so I believe most of you guys are familiar with it. Not much complaint, performs great, goes from 80 watts to 150 watts and up to 18,000 lumens. The features of this is that you get the fixture standard with a yoke bracket, and we also offer you a tunnel adapter. Different type of listings. You have the DLC Premium, Marine Grade, Class 1 Division 1 up to Class 3. You will notice here as I go through the slides that the groups change. So just to comment, whenever you are looking at the fixture for that particular data sheet, whether it's us or any other manufacturer, always check your grouping to make sure that you are dealing with the material you wanted to be dealing with. We also have 5G vibration rating, 1,000 hours for the salt spray testing, and IP66. So if you would just allow me, guys, to go back. I figured I missed this slide. Let's review the high bay portfolio. It is C1D2. The HLR series and HLRS series are available from 45 watts to 175 and 70 watts. This comes in two different sizes. We have the small. The small is the 45 and the 65, and then the medium goes from 80 to 170. You will notice that the small gets up to 97,000 lumens, and the medium gets up to 15,000 lumens. So the medium is an offering that we are working on replacing. The replacement is in progress, coming soon. It will come from the medium. It will go from 80 watts to 200 watts, and it will reach up to 30,000 lumens. So we will not only catch up to the competition, but will be a little bit higher because of an efficacy that's going to be up to 130 lumens per watt. So the features of this entire portfolio are clear lens, diffuse lens, and globe lens options. And you get the pendant and ceiling mount options. One thing that you guys are probably very familiar with is that whether it's the small or the medium or the competition, lots of people offer a different housing style for pendant and a different housing style for ceiling mount. MaxLite, in the coming soon version for the HLR series, the one that's going to be replacing the medium size, the ones that are going to have the higher efficacy, will be coming out with a universal mounting option. That means that we no longer have to deal, starting July 2020, with having to order pendant and having to order ceiling mount as two separate SKUs. It will be all in one. Different type of listings are available. DLC Premium, which is in progress for the HLRS and available for the HLR, Marine Grade, Class 1 Division 2 up to Class 3, a 5D vibration rating, 1,000 hours of salt spray testing, and IP66. So I'm going to skip ahead and go back to the ELLF series, which is our high output flood in C1D2. This is a fixture that most of you guys are probably familiar with. We've had StaxMax for a while, but we offer StaxMax in C1D2 as well, and it goes up to 56,000 lumens for 540 watts. So this fixture belongs to the groups A, B, C, and D, and is standard a TAA compliant fixture. And last but not least, we have our wall pack C1D2. This is available in 26 watts and 43 watts. Goes up to 5,500 lumens. IP66 Class 1 Div 2 ETL listed for wet locations under UL 844 requirements. So it is a hazardous location fixtures, and it has available as accessories an adjustable bracket and a yoke bracket to facilitate the mounting. So this slide is the last one that's covering our product portfolio. And next, we want to cover our documentation and how you guys can navigate through the website or through marketing paperwork to make sure that you are understanding the portfolio and getting what you need. We have a microsite. There's the direct link shown on the slide. The microsite summarizes the offering. It's a very, very easy way to know exactly what MaxLite has to offer. I encourage you guys to go and look at it. And it offers you a direct link to the brochure, to the rating, to the product page, and to the data sheet. Also, we have the brochure. The next two images that you see are covering the brochure. The inside of the brochure focuses on the specifications of the fixtures, lumen outputs, ratings that the fixture can meet, mounting options, and all of that type of stuff. And the very last page of the brochure talks about the ratings. It helps you review class 1, 2, 3, division 1, 2 groups, and then all of the different temperature codes. And also, MaxLite has what we called a competitor cross-reference guide that we maintain. The competitor cross-reference guide was put together to help with crossing exercises. So if we are crossing a Kraus-Heinz or a Dialite or a Rigolite project, just know that MaxLite has this document that is maintained as much as possible and readily available that tells you that if you are dealing with the Dialite LSC and LPD, the Dialite fixture is C1D1. They also have C1D2. They have marine grade. It goes up to 7,000 lumens. And the MaxLite fixture will be the HL-LI. C1D1, C1D2 marine grade will go up to 10,000 lumens. So this is just me emphasizing to you guys that this document is available and very easy for you to use in your crossing exercises. So this was actually the last slide. So if you have any questions or comments, we will take them.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you everybody for joining. I'd just like to remind you all that we will be sending a copy of today's presentation as well as a recording out to you. That'll probably be tomorrow. And we will be staying on the line for a few more minutes. So if you have any further questions, please type them right in the chat box. Thank you again, and we hope you have a great weekend.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for attending and for your time. As you know, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to your reps, your internal contact, and for more technical questions, reach out to me. Thank you.